Flowtoys Composite system is essentially comprised of a fiber and resin composite shaft covered in a grippy elastomer blend tube which compresses inside the compression connector inside our polycarbonate tubing to make a nice firm connection and transition from that composite shaft into our variety of illumination options. The compression connector is two halves held together with a small O-ring for convenience. I like to keep the O-ring on there. It's really tight and it's really hard to get on after you take it off. To put the compression connector onto the shaft, I like to take it and spread it apart with my fingers and grip it from the sides to keep it apart. That way I can easily put it on the shaft. Make sure that it goes all the way down onto the end and that there's even spacing on both sides. Then take the polycarbonate tube and push it on. There are buttons on both sides of the connectors that should click into place in the holes in the polycarbonate tube. You can twist to release the buttons. They should only release in one direction. There's actually arrows on the connector that show which way to twist. Basically, you're twisting the hole towards the seam. So twist to release, and you can remove the tube. This makes, if you're traveling with a staff, a lot easier because the total length of the staff is just the length of the shaft. This also enables you to swap out different ends. So if you wanted to use a tube that perfectly held two flowlights, for example, you could use that. Or you could swap it out for a single tube. There are two different shaft diameters. This one's a smaller shaft. That means it's got a different compression connector designed for that shaft. But the tube can go on either. Another critical aspect of the composite system is the end cap. One option is the flow cap. This connects to a capsule light or to flow lights with a simple twist. In the case of flow lights, you'll need a flow light adapter. This adapter has the shape of a capsule on the top, and so it connects to the cap in the same way as the capsule. You can also leave that adapter in place. To remove the flow light adapter, it helps to have a flow light in place. Twisting the adapter can sometimes remove it on its own. However, you may find it helps to push the button at the same time. So push the button and twist, and the adapter will come right out. A pod also makes a great cap. Simply twist and pull to remove. It connects to the capsules. This is a perfect example with a C-ring. It's possible that the C-ring can be left inside the pod. When you're removing the capsule, especially if you twist, the C-ring can pop off and stay inside. Be sure that it's properly affixed to the capsule before you put it back in the pod. Otherwise, the capsule can slide out of the pod. The C-ring creates a flange feature that mates with an undercut inside the pod to keep it securely in there. It's very important when putting the pod onto the tube that you push it on really good and firm and that your tube's nice and clean. If you feel like the pod is kind of easy to pull off, it could come off while you're spinning. So be careful. Capsules can be connected to each other with what's called a capsule link. To access the link, you want to peel the O-ring that holds the capsule halves together back, enabling you to split the capsule shell in half. And you can see that link there. If I do this to the other side, the O-ring's pretty snug. It can be a little hard to pull off. As long as your fingers are clean and dry, you should be able to kind of roll it off, just kind of rub it off. You can use your fingernails or something also to grip and pull it off, but be careful that you don't actually cut it. Silicone's incredibly strong, but not if it's pierced by something sharp. Now, splitting the other capsule in half, I can remove the capsule link. This link is basically a little eye shape. To put the link in place, simply split open the end of your capsule, not the end with the button, but the other end, and place the link inside and close it back up again. You can then stretch the O-ring over the capsule, and then put the second O-ring over the same capsule so that once they're connected, you can easily roll it down into place on the second capsule. This will link your two capsules together. You can then put them inside of whatever cap you're going to use. If you would like to customize the length of the shaft, you can remove the connector and then remove the elastomer on the shaft if you don't have elastomer along the entire length. It's very grippy, so it's not super easy. You don't want to stretch it out too much. This elastomer is not like silicone. It won't return back to its shape if it gets too stretched out. I find it's easiest if you kind of surround it with all your fingers. Slowly pull. There we go. Then simply cut the shaft down with a saw. Maybe use a file to clean up any sharp edges. And you can replace the elastomer by pushing it on. If it's too sticky, you can kind of massage it down until it's fully in place. If the shaft is fully gripped, you can cut it down at any point and simply move the connector to that point. You'll want to cut evenly from both ends if you have a center mark to maintain its center. Then reinstall the connector and your tubing, and you're all set.